Um, yeah, Deepak, if you don't mind, let's dive in. So welcome everyone to our community conversations today. I am Tiana. I'm part of the community team here at Autodesk. I am a community manager for AutoCAD products and subscription management. I'm going to be sort of the MC for today, and I am based in New Hampshire. Just a little background for me. Deepak, if you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Well, good morning for me, good afternoon, and good evening for most of you guys. Deepak Maini is my name, National Technical Manager at CAD Group Australia, based in Sydney. I'm an Autodesk Expert Elite member.
We are super happy to have you. So before we begin, just a couple of things. As you guys probably have noticed, your line is muted to reduce some background noise as you came in. We invite you to turn your camera on to kind of have that, seeing faces. We like to see everyone, try and have a little bit more of a face-to-face conversation as much as we can. If you have a question, either raise your hand, which you can do either in your screen and we'll try and see you, or either that you can also go ahead and use the raise your hand option through the reactions in the Zoom window. The session is recorded. A link will be emailed to everyone who registered for it, and it will also be uploaded onto our community conversation site. Just a quick heads up, by participating in the session, you are giving consent to be recorded. Just wanted to let you all know that. And then down in the little corner, it shows you where you can have that raise your hand option from the in the reaction section. This is our safe harbor statement. Just quickly, if we make any forward-looking statements, I don't want you guys making any purchase decisions based on those statements. If you're purchasing, please make those decisions looking at the software that it's in the state today and that alone. And then also just a quick please note that Deepak is independent of Autodesk. So just have to get that out there and give you guys that little heads up. So that is that. So a little bit about the community conversations. Basically, the community conversations provides an opportunity for engineers, designers, artists, makers, really anyone like yourselves who are interested in Autodesk software. You guys can come, you can meet in a safe, live, virtual environment. You get to share your expertise, get to know leaders in your field, and hopefully help grow your own community network. The sessions are always supported by the Autodesk community team, specifically, usually a community manager is emceeing, to help guide the conversations and feed important insights back to the community, and as well as support our participants. Kate just sent the link to our community conversations page. Thank you, Kate. So if you guys are interested in checking out some of the past recordings and things like that, that's all there for you, as well as a calendar for our future events and things like that. So definitely feel free to check that out. And without further ado, I will hand this off to Deepak.
Thanks, Tiana. So before I start my presentation, I want to say a big thank you to Wendy and also to Kate for giving me the opportunity to do the presentation on this really, really important topic about BIM 360 and ACC licensing. So as part of my job, I get to talk to the customers all around the ANZ region about BIM 360 and Autodesk Construction Cloud. And one of the biggest challenges people face is to do with licensing, especially on the BIM 360 side. So that's what this presentation is going to be based on, all around licensing. And in the end, if we get some time, we'll also talk about a couple of workflow points in this presentation. All right, so before we start with the actual licensing side of it, there are a couple of important concepts that people need to get their head around. And the first one that I want to talk about is this concept called bring your own subscription, BYOS. So BYOS is an Autodesk policy that defines the access to certain cloud-based software. What software, what's the policy? We will talk about that in detail soon. But at this stage, I just want all of you guys to get this word in your head, BYOS, or this phrase, bring your own subscription. The second thing is, for people to understand that there are two different cloud platforms from Autodesk. The first one is the BIM 360 platform, and the second one is the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. So please, please, please get this in your heads that there are two different platforms, BIM 360 platform and Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. So what's the BIM 360 platform? BIM 360 platform is the platform that we've been using for the last few years. Anybody who's ever used BIM 360 Docs or BIM 360 Design, or going back quite a few years, if anybody used Collaboration for Revit, C4R as we used to call it, that was on BIM 360 platform, and it is still on BIM 360 platform. BIM 360 platform has a darker bar at the top. So when you go to the web browser and when you go to the BIM 360 page, it's got this darker bar at the top. Now, recently, the branding got changed. So although on the BIM 360 platform, also on the top left, the wording says Autodesk Construction Cloud, or the branding says Autodesk Construction Cloud, the bar, the address bar, as well as the title bar of your web browser window would still show BIM 360 address. So it still shows BIM 360 here. And that's the BIM 360 platform. Now, what's the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform? I'm going to refer to it as ACC platform. This is the new platform. This is the unified platform that Autodesk released or launched a few months back. Actually, it was initially talked about a couple of years back at Autodesk University, I think in 2019. But then the platform got released not long back. So this ACC platform is the new platform. It has a lighter bar at the top. So when you open a web browser window, if you see the darker bar at the top, that's the BIM 360 platform. The lighter bar at the top is the ACC platform. Now, on the ACC platform, both the branding and the address bar shows ACC. So that's the biggest difference. The branding as well as the ACC, as well as the address bar shows ACC here. Whereas in case of BIM 360, it shows B360 or BIM 360 there. Now, I can guarantee you, most of you guys still have all your projects, if not all, majority of your projects still sitting on the BIM 360 platform. Because ACC platform is a newer platform, I haven't seen too many projects on the ACC platform yet. So please get this concept right, that we've got two different platforms, BIM 360 platform and the ACC platform. Now, a really cool thing about all this is that all your cloud-based products, whether it's BIM Collaborate Pro or BIM Collaborate or Autodesk Docs, it gives you access to both the platforms. So when you subscribe to an Autodesk cloud product such as BIM Collaborate Pro, which was formerly BIM 360 Design, prior to that it was C4R or Collaboration for Revit. So when you subscribe to any of these cloud products, you get access to both the platforms. Now, it is up to you to decide which platform you want to start your new project on. As I said, it gives you access to both the platforms. So this is the really cool thing about this. All right, so talking about BIM Collaborate Pro. What is BIM Collaborate Pro? BIM Collaborate Pro is the rebranded version of BIM 360 Design. I'm sure a lot of you people use BIM 360 Design in the past, and even Collaboration for Revit prior to that, for Revit cloud work sharing or hosting the projects on the cloud. So BIM Collaborate Pro is the rebranded version of BIM 360 Design. It gives you access to both the platforms, as I mentioned earlier, Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, as well as the BIM 360 platform. And it gives you access to the design collaboration and the underlying common data environment module, which on BIM 360 was called document management. On the ACC platform is called Autodesk Docs or Docs. So it gives you access to both these platforms and design collaboration module on both the platforms. But the new thing that was released with BIM Collaborate Pro is access to the model coordination module. So in the past with BIM 360 Design, we did not have access to the model coordination module. Whereas with BIM Collaborate Pro, it gives us access to the model coordination module on both BIM 360 platform as well as the ACC platform. How cool is that? On top of that, BIM Collaborate Pro gives you access to Revit Cloud Work Sharing, collaboration for Civil 3D, and collaboration for Plant 3D. It gives you access to these features as well. And then what is BIM Collaborate? So BIM Collaborate was a new offering that was launched a few months back. BIM Collaborate gives you access to design collaboration and model coordination modules on both the platforms. But the difference between the two products is Revit Cloud Work Sharing, collaboration for Civil 3D, and collaboration for Plant 3D. That's the only difference between the two products. So basically, BIM Collaborate Pro offering is meant for the design team, the team that needs to work on Revit or work on Civil 3D or work on Plant 3D. Whereas, excuse me, BIM Collaborate offering is mainly meant for non-designers. So they could be your project managers, project engineers, they could be your construction managers, and so on. They could also be your BIM leads. So if you've got your BIM leads or DE leads, digital engineering leads, as we call them, they are not going to touch the design side of it. However, they need to regularly access what's been happening in the design side. They need to access the model, section them, measure them, create markups and issues. So for them, the offering is BIM Collaborate. Now, you might be aware of an offering called BIM 360 Docs, starting today in the US and yesterday for us, because as you know, I'm time traveling. I'm already on the 8th of July. So yesterday for us and today for people in the US, BIM 360 Docs has been rebranded as Autodesk Docs. And Autodesk Docs, again, would give you access to both BIM 360 and ACC platform, and it'll give you access to the underlying CDE, Common Data Environment, which is Docs module on the ACC platform, or document management on the BIM 360 platform. Now that we understand these three offerings, so two on the slide and one additional one, which is Autodesk Docs, the reason I mentioned about these three offerings is because these are the only three cloud offerings that work with the concept of BYOS, bring your own subscription. So let's understand the licensing side of it, which is, as I said, is the key thing that a lot of people actually have trouble getting their head around as to how the licensing works on these two platforms. So talking about licensing, we'll start with the licensing on the ACC platform, because the licensing on the ACC platform is really cool, really simple. Access to all modules is BYOS. So access to all the modules on the ACC platform is bring your own subscription. Now, what does this mean? This means that the Autodesk Construction Cloud project host is not responsible for any license for any project members. So what happens is, as soon as we start a new project on the ACC platform, and as I mentioned earlier, your cloud subscription gives you access to both platforms. So let's say I'm starting a brand new project today, and instead of starting it on the BIM 360 platform, if I started on the ACC platform, as soon as I do that, I add members to my project and I enable their access to several modules. So let's say on this project here, I want to enable access to docs, which is obviously my common data environment, my file repository layer. And because it's a cloud work shared project, I want to also enable design collaboration. And also I want to run automated clash detection on my project data. So I've enabled model coordination as well. Now, on top of that, I want RFIs and I want submittals and so on. For that, I have activated build module as well. So when I add a member to the project, all I'm doing is I'm providing access to that member to all these different modules. Now, when that particular member goes onto their machine and logs onto this project, as soon as they go to any of these modules from the top left, the system checks their licensing system. So the system will go and check what kind of subscription does the user have. And if the user has the right kind of subscription, they get access to the module. So if the user has got access to BIM Collaborate or BIM Collaborate Pro, they are taken to the modules such as model coordination or design collaboration and so on. So system in the background checks that. Now, if the user tries to access a module to which they do not have the subscription, they are then given an opportunity to go and trial that module. So they are given the option here on this page to start a new trial for that module that goes for 30 days. After 30 days, the trial expires and the user is then given an option to subscribe to that module. So in this case, as you can see, the project host has got no responsibility of any sort for organizing the license for this particular user. They've got no licensing responsibility for any project member. And as a result, it's really simple, straightforward concept. The project host will just add members to the project. They'll enable whatever modules they want to give those members access to. And after that, the responsibility or the onus lies on the user to get the right kind of subscription. So simple, straightforward process. Everything is BYOS, or bring your own subscription. Now, licensing on the BIM 360 platform is a little bit complex. And this is the main reason we are actually doing this presentation, because of the licensing on the BIM 360 platform. On ACC platform, everything is straightforward. If you have subscription, you get access to it. If you don't have subscription, you don't get access to it. The project host is not responsible for any licensing. So to make it easier for everybody to understand the licensing on the BIM 360 platform, what we are going to do is we are going to understand it based on 3 project member types. The first project member type we are going to discuss it based on is the project members who have got subscription of BIM Collaborate Pro. So remember, BIM Collaborate Pro gives you access to design collaboration, model coordination, and also Revit Cloud work sharing, collaboration for Civil 3D, and collaboration for Plant 3D. So we'll look at the licensing based on these subscribers. The second thing we'll look at is the licensing based on BIM Collaborate or Autodesk Docs subscribers. And lastly, we'll look at the licensing for the members who've got no subscription at all. So let's start with the licensing on the BIM 360 platform for BIM Collaborate Pro subscribers. So let's say I've started a new project and I've added Philippe Bono, or I've added Kate, or I've added Tiana to my project. Now, when I add any of these members to my project, and because they have been assigned a subscription of BIM Collaborate Pro by their own subscription or contract manager, the access to only document management and design collaboration part is BYOS. So only document management and design collaboration is BYOS. Nothing else is BYOS on the BIM 360 platform. So when I add this member to a project, the system checks their subscription. And if the system figures out that, yes, this user has a subscription of BIM Collaborate Pro, the BYOS, or bring your own subscription, kicks in for the document management and design collaboration module. So if I have only given this user access to document management and design collaboration module, they are not a liability on the project host. But if I activate access to any other module for this user, such as model coordination, now although model coordination is included in BIM Collaborate Pro, but on the BIM 360 platform, modules such as model coordination or field management or assets or project management is the responsibility of the project host. So as a project host, I need to have enough subscription added to my account that I can support a new member to use model coordination, field management, project management, or assets. Even though the user's company could subscribe to their own, let's say, field management or Autodesk build product, they cannot use those on my account. As a project host, I am responsible for all the licenses except for design collaboration and document management. So for BIM Collaborate Pro subscribers, only access to document management and design collaboration is BYOS. Everything else, as the project host, I'm responsible. So this is for BIM Collaborate Pro subscribers. Let's now talk about BIM Collaborate or Autodesk Docs subscribers. Autodesk Docs is included as part of your AEC collection now. It can also be purchased as a separate subscription. So for these subscribers, access to only document management is BYOS. No other module is BYOS, only document management is BYOS. So when I add a member who's got subscription of BIM Collaborate or Autodesk Docs, when I add them to my project, the system checks their subscription and they see that these users have got access to BIM Collaborate or Autodesk Docs, and the BYOS kicks in for the document management module. But for all the other module access, I, as project host, am responsible for those licenses. So I need to subscribe to enough licenses in my account that I can support this user on the project. So only document management as part of BIM Collaborate or Autodesk Docs is BYOS. All the other modules, I am responsible for those licenses. And lastly, if we talk about project members who've got no subscription at all, in that case, obviously, because they've got no subscription, BIM 360 project host is responsible for all the licenses. So I need to have enough subscription in my account to support this member working on the project. So please be mindful of this. If a member is added to the project and if they have got no subscription, as soon as I add them to the project, my responsibility is to provide them license, including license to document management or BIM 360 Docs or Autodesk Docs. So as soon as I add a member to my project, now this is really important. As soon as I add member to my project, the system checks their subscription. And if the system finds out that this user is not a member, it does not have any subscription assigned to them, then suddenly my license consumption goes up in my account because I'm responsible for all the licenses. So let's say I give them access to document management module, the license consumption in my account of document management goes up. Then I give them access to model coordination. In my system, model coordination consumption goes up. Similarly, if I give them access to field management, in my system, that consumption goes up. So as soon as I add member to the project and give them access, the consumption goes up. Now, the really important point here is that even if the project member has not accepted the invite, you are still starting to pay for those licenses as soon as you add them to the project. So again, let me repeat this. Even if the project member has not accepted the invite, as soon as you add them to the project, your consumption goes up. So one thing that I strongly recommend is for all the BIM 360 account admin to regularly go to the account admin analytics page and look at members by service. So you do not go non-compliant, because this can actually get out of control really quickly. Excuse me. So again, let me repeat this. As a non-subscriber, when the non-subscriber is added to the project, even if they have not accepted the invite, my consumption goes up on my account depending on how many modules I give them access to. So as a BIM 360 account admin, you need to regularly, so what I strongly recommend my customers is at least once a month, put it in your calendar, let's say first Wednesday of every month or whatever it is, go into your account admin analytics page and look at members by services to make sure that you are not breaching your licensing agreement with Autodesk, or you are not becoming non-compliant. Because as soon as you become non-compliant, these green bars will turn red, telling you are using more subscriptions than allowed. So please be mindful of that. So I want to quickly summarize this, and then I'm going to actually open it for questions, because I'm sure a lot of you guys will have questions about this. So to summarize this, Autodesk Construction Cloud Platform or ACC platform is simple, straightforward. All licenses are BYOS. So as a project host or as an ACC account manager, I've got no worries at all. I just add members to the project and they bring their own subscription. I've got no liability for external users. So everybody's happy. No worries. I don't have to regularly go and see and make sure that I'm compliant. So no questions there at all. No worries. But on the BIM 360 platform, that's where it's a bit complex. So for BIM Collaborate Pro subscribers, document management and design collaboration are the only modules that are BYOS. For BIM Collaborate or Docs subscriber, only document management is BYOS. Access to all of the modules for these subscribers or non-subscribers is the responsibility of BIM 360 project host. So if I'm hosting a project on my account and I add, let's say 10 external members, none of them have got any subscription, I am responsible for the license for all those external members. And for BIM 360 account admin, you should regularly go into account admin analytics page, excuse me, and look at these this area called members by service to make sure that you are compliant and you are not exceeding your allowed limits, because it can get out of control very quickly, especially when you're working on larger projects, when you're adding tens and tens of members on regular basis. So that's the BIM 360 platform licensing. So what I want to do, Tiana, now is, because normally when I do these presentations, this is where people have got a lot of questions. So what I'll do is I'll open this for questions now. And then once we have answered all the questions, then I'll quickly cover a couple of workflow points as well.
Yeah, perfect. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to either put them into the chat or raise your hand, and we'll be able to unmute you. It looks like Mark has his hand raised. All right, Mark, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for entertaining my question. Let's suppose I'm a project manager and I just bought myself a license of Autodesk Docs, but I'm working with firms that have BIM Collaborate or BIM Collaborate Pro. When I go to set up the project, will I be able to assign permissions to use those products, even though I only have Autodesk Docs? In other words, I'm going to assign somebody to have permission to collaborate on a model, but all I have is Autodesk Docs. Will I have that ability, being the project host?
That's a really good question, Mark. So are we talking about BIM 360 platform or are we talking about ACC platform? Let's say BIM 360 platform. Okay, all right. So let's say BIM 360 platform to start with. So on the BIM 360 platform, when you go and start a brand new project, step number one is to activate services. So when you go to the services page, because you only have subscription to Docs, the only service that you would see there is document management. You will not see additional services. And because there are no additional services listed there, you can't activate them. Hence, you can't give those access to those additional members that might have additional services as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So when you activate services, the only service that you would see on your BIM 360 services page are the services that you have access to, no other services. So that's on BIM 360 platform. On the ACC platform, again, all the services are listed there. You can activate them, which means that although you may not have access to those services, others could, so they can use those services. But as a project admin, if you are not setting up those services with the permissions and so on, there is no point, because they won't be able to have access to them with the right permissions anyway.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries, Mark. That was a brilliant question. I'm glad somebody asked that question.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions before we move on? Again, feel free. Okay, so we have one in the chat. Okay, so is the ACC platform have a European server as they need to comply with GDPR?
Again, a brilliant question. So for certain modules, ACC platform has access to the European server. But again, this is something that keeps changing on regular basis. The best thing is to go to the Autodesk Construction Cloud page and look at FAQs or frequently asked questions. And that's where they keep updating the information as to which module has got access to the European server at what point in time. As I said, for example, initially it only had access to a couple of services, whereas then there were services added and so on. So please, I don't have, unfortunately, the latest information as of today. But if you go to the ACC page and go to frequently asked questions, you can look for European server.
Okay, great. Any other questions? So let's see, something else came in on chat as well. Oh, they said thank you. They have a BIM 360 team pack under Autodesk license. Are they able to check what is in the BIM 360 team, what's included in that?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So BIM 360 team is a bit of an older concept, and I think I saw an email, especially in the ANZ region. I'm not sure if it's still the case in the US and European region as well or not, but I think the team licensing or 3-year licensing is getting removed or something. So in all honesty, I'm not up to speed with what's included in team right now because it's an older concept and I haven't looked into it for a long time. But I can make a note of this and I can get back to the user about BIM 360 team.
Great. Anybody else have any other questions? They said thank you, Deepak. Appreciated. So any other questions before we move on? Okay. We have one more that came in through chat. So reviewing member limits by services, and they find one that is red. What is the best way to find which projects have each service to find non-compliant projects?
Okay, that's actually a really, really good point. For that, what I'll do is I'll actually jump over to my Chrome window. So this Chrome window is right now showing me my account admin page. And I can see that on my account admin page, if I go under projects, I've got these projects listed. I've got 111 active projects. These are the several projects that I have active. So what I normally do is the first thing I do is I go and say last sign in to see what projects actually have got recent sign in as well. Because most of these projects could actually be just a project that somebody started and never did anything on it. So what I do is, for example, if I go to this QWE, which is part of some testing that we were doing, I can see that there are a couple of members on this project. And if I go under services, we can see that the only service that we activated in this, and this is an older project, we activated BIM 360 glue on this. And I can straight away see that we haven't used it for a long time. So what we are better off doing is to archive this project, and I can actually remove members from this project as well. So that will bring my consumption down straight away. Please note that making a member inactive. So for example, on my account admin page, you can, as I said, you could go by a project, or go via project and look at the members and see when it was last signed in and so on, and control it that way. Or you could go via members, because projects not that important. It's the members that cause problems. So what I normally do is on my account admin page, I go to the members page, and then I sort the members by last signed in. And as you can see, we've got quite a few members that actually haven't even signed in. So if I go to, for example, this member here, I could then go and say what all projects is this member included in. So this member is included in this project. This member has not even signed in for all this time. So what I do is I actually remove access to that member from this project. And that would bring my consumption down. because consumption is not based on projects. You can have as many projects. It is the members that cause problems. So coming back to your question, yes, you can sort all these things by projects, and you can look at projects and services by simply clicking on a project. So if I go to this project here, I can go to services and look at services that are active on that project. But it's not the services that cause problem, it's the members. So that's why I always go to the members page on account admin, sort the members by last signed in, and then make sure that I don't include them in any of the projects if they have not been signing in lately. As I said earlier, making a member inactive does not reduce your consumption. So if I go to this member here, now this member is set to inactive, but if I go to projects, and if this member is still a part of the project, my consumption is up. So what I would normally do in this case is I will go to this project and then remove this member from the project. You can remove multiple members also if you want, and that would bring your consumption down. I hope that makes sense.
So actually, while you were just explaining that, another person actually asked a question about members. So if a user's license is removed, say they move to a new firm, are they automatically removed from all projects as well, or is this something that they have to go in and do?
Again, brilliant question. I'm glad somebody asked this question. The answer is no. The members are not automatically removed. As a project host, the onus lies on you. The onus comes down to you. The responsibility is yours to regularly check that. And what I normally do is, as I said, once a month, I come back and I look at the sign in by, and that way I can see who's signed in. And if there are project members that have not signed in for the whole month, then I can contact them. But a really, really cool thing that that we've got here that actually not a lot of people are aware of is if you go to a member. So for example, if I go to me here, that's me here, to an account admin, there is an additional level of permission, which is called executive overview. So you can give yourself this permission called executive overview, or to one of your mates or your colleagues, you could give executive overview. What executive overview does is it actually gives you the insight to your whole account. Now, this insight is different from your project insight. This is account insight. So on this account insight page, what I normally do is I go to this option called, let me refresh this page. So down the bottom, there's this option called data connector. So this account insight gives me all the information about all the project across my account. And we've got this option called data connector. What data connector does is it lets you run extraction on the whole account, which includes all the reports of members, projects, and so much more information as CSV files. As you could see, I ran it just yesterday or the day before for me, because I run it on a regular basis. And what this does is it gives you access to so much information. For example, admin account by services, admin accounts, business units, companies on your account, project companies, project roles, services, and so on. So this data connector is absolute gold for your account admins. For example, in this case, if I go and say, show me all my admin projects or admin roles or admin users, I could simply double click on it and it gives me everything that is on my account. So in this case, as you could see, it's telling me that I've got all these projects on my account. It gives me the dates of those projects. It gives me the information. It gives me start and end date, type, value, everything. So I'll repeat this one more time because not too many people are aware of this. Make sure you give yourself the permission called executive overview. Once you have given yourself executive overview permission, that's when you can go into your account admin insight page, and then you can run data connector. And Data Connector then generates all these reports that are absolute gold. We've got customers who have linked this to Power BI, and that gives them a really cool dashboard of everything happening across all their across their account on all the projects. So I would strongly recommend all the BIM 360 account admins to actually give yourself this permission to go through this information.
Okay, great. A few more came in while you were going through that. When would you delete a member versus removing a member? Do you have any best practices for that?
Yeah, look, to be honest, if I go into this last signed in and if the member has not even signed in, I would delete them, to be honest. Because what's the point of them having on my account if they're not even going to sign in? So, sorry, going on to the members page. Now, like for example, the previous person asked the question, what if a member leaves the company? Obviously, in that case, you would delete the member as well, because if the member has left the company, if they ever need to be added to the project again, it'll be through a different email address. But let's say if I go in here and if I see that there's a member that has not accessed the project in last 2 months, then I would not delete them. I would remove them from the project, because deleting meaning I'll have to add them again to my account. Now, having said that, a really good thing is that in the past, and this is going back to early 2019s or late 2018s, if we had to add a member to the project, we first had to add them to the account. Whereas now that's not the case. I can directly go to the project and I can add a member to the project. So even if you delete a member, that's not a big deal. You can always add them straight to the project as well. So um, coming back to your question, it all comes down to your preferences. My preference is these members here, or going back to members page, these members who have not even accessed the account or project at all, I'll delete them. But members who are less than 6 months old, I actually remove their access to the projects rather than deleting them, unless I know that they have left the company.
Okay, great. And then I believe we have one more. Can you extend the ACC licensing to be managed with a premium plan subscription?
All right, good question. And in all honesty, I am not sure about this. I will have to get back to this user. So
Yeah, no worries.
ACC
Kate actually shared our community conversation link in the chat. So if you wanted to, you can address that after the meeting over on that link.
Sure. From memory, what I was under the impression was that the cloud licenses are not included in the premium subscription. Premium subscription are only meant for desktop product. But again, this is me going back a couple of months, maybe a bit more. If this information might have changed, so I'm not too sure about that. I will have to get back to the user.
No worries. All right. I believe that was all of the questions in the chat. And I don't see any other hands raised. So I think we can move along if you have some more things to cover, Deepak.
Yes. So there are a couple of workflow points that I want to cover. And the reason I like to cover those is because of the fact that most of the projects that I get involved in, clash detection was an important part of all those projects. Now, in the past, the traditional way was to do all the clash detection inside Navisworks. As much as I love Navisworks, and I think most of you guys know that I've written books on Navisworks, Navisworks had this little problem of exchanging the clash information. So clash detection, Navisworks is absolutely fantastic at, but clash management is where it always struggled. And this is where in February, when BIM Collaborate Pro as a product was released, and also BIM Collaborate, a really cool thing about that now is that when we are starting a project, we can actually activate the model coordination service as part of our project itself. And if I just quickly go on to my ACC, and I'll show you this example on the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, but this is exactly the same on the BIM 360 platform as well. So a really cool thing is when you start a new project on the on any of these platforms, So if I go into this one here, I normally give access to the users to model coordination as well, which means that we can run automated clash detection on our project models. And what I normally do is I combine this with design collaboration. And design collaboration, as most of you already know, has got to do with cloud work sharing. So as part of design collaboration, what we normally do is we go and share our packages. So let me just grab this here. Let's go into design collaboration. So we share our packages, and the folder that we normally use is the shared folder. If I go into docs here, and what I normally do is I use that shared folder as one of my coordination spaces. So the really cool workflow is as soon as all the disciplines release their packages using design collaboration, and then they share their packages, as soon as they do that, that's where the program automatically runs clash detection. So automated clash detection on all those released files, which means that I can have a really clear understanding of what are the major issues happening on my project in terms of the disciplines clashing. And as I said, because this is now included in your BIM Collaborate Pro subscription, and on the ACC platform, everything is BYOS. I can straight away go and look at these clashes, and so can all the project members who've got access to this. They can look at the clash metrics. They can look at any of these clashes. They can also filter it. So let's say in this case, I want to look at clashes between mechanical and structure. And the system is running automated clashes on this. So let's look at this here. And the best part of this is when I'm looking at these clashes, I can then create issues or add issues based on the clashes and notify the project member who needs to fix this. So let's say I found out that there's a clash between a mechanical duct and a structural element. I can then go and create an issue on that and notify the project member. But most importantly, we can also create clashes or convert clashes into non-issues. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say we have not modeled the penetrations on the project yet. So we can go into these slabs and I can convert them into non-issues, which means that anything that's got to do with these, I could go and say valid penetrations, not modeled penetrations yet. So this way, the program will stop showing me those clashes and I can concentrate on real clashes. So if I go and look at some real clashes here, so this definitely is a problem. So this duct clashing with this beam is a problem. This is where I can go and create an issue. And it lets me place an issue pin. I'll place an issue pin somewhere here, which means that I'm looking at this problem from this angle. And I can now add description about this issue. But most importantly, I can notify the project member. Now, the additional cool thing about this is that with Revit, we now have issues plugin, which means I can now download these issues inside Revit and I can look at the actual element that is clashing, which means that I can then take action. I can take the required action to resolve those clashes. How cool is that? So this issue that I add here, let's say I want to assign it to this user here. I don't want to wake too many people up this early. You can assign it to roles and companies as well. I'm not a big fan of that because the issue needs to be assigned to the user who needs to action it. So let's say I'm going to assign it to this user here. If I've got project location, I can define that. Due date is next week. Start date is today. So I can keep a track of when this issue was added. Root cause, again, I'm a really big fan. So I can sort all the issues by the root causes. I'll say this is a problem for them to look at. And this user can now go inside. Tiana, can you still hear me?
You're breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I just saw a message that my internet was unstable. All right, so what I was saying was I just added this issue and I assign it to this user. As soon as I do that, this user gets notified straight away that there's an issue for them to action. And this is where this user can then go into Revit, download this plugin called Issues add-on for Revit, which is free for the subscription customers. And they can then download this issue inside Revit. So if I just quickly show you an example of this, I'll start Revit 2022. And then I'll go into, because this is a Revit CloudWorks shared project, I'll close out of this issue. So that's issue number 21. A really cool thing is when you assign an issue to a clash, it disappears from your clash list, but the issue appears in model coordination. At any point of time, you can click on this issue and you can have a look at this. But most importantly, you can also measure distances and you can define how much we need to move these down by. So in my issue description here, I could go and say, move this duct down by 8 inches. So when I'm downloading this issue inside Revit, if I go into my Autodesk Docs program to look at this CloudWorks shared project, till the time I have downloaded the issues plugin inside Revit, as I said, which is free for subscription customers, it'll show up in your desktop app, and also you can download it from your Autodesk account. I'll go into the mechanical model.
Deepak, just real quick, we have a few more minutes before we have to wrap up.
Yes.
So just wanted to give you a quick heads up.
Yes, 6:54. I just looked at my watch. 6:54 a.m. I'm not sure what time it's for you guys. All right, so with the issues plugin inside Revit, as I've already downloaded and installed this plugin, I can load all these issues and it'll take me straight to that. So if I go and say load the issues from the coordination space, which in this case is the shared folder. Come on. So shared mechanical, which has got 5 issues in it. I'm gonna go open. It now loads all those issues. So this is all happening inside Revit. Issue number 21 is the one that we just created. As soon as I click on this issue number 21, it now opens the 3D view on which the issue was created, takes me to the exact element from the view that I placed the issue pin on, and also even highlights the element. I can now see here that I need to move this duct down by 8 inches. So all this information can be downloaded inside Revit. Once I've taken the action, I can change the issue status. The project member who created the issue gets notified. So it's a really cool closed loop end-to-end issue management system that can start from BIM 360 or ACC platform, can be brought into Revit, and then change the status here, taken back into BIM 360 or ACC, and you can then have a look at the information. So if I just quickly change this to in review status here, on my ACC platform here, if I just quickly refresh this, it would straight away show me that the status has been changed to in review. How cool is that? So my workflow here was to ensure that I, if on BIM 360, I activate the model coordination module and use the shared folder as the coordination space. On the ACC platform, I give access to the project members to the model coordination module, so they can then look at all these clashes if they want. So that's pretty much all I have in case of workflow. Any more questions anybody has about this workflow or licensing that we discussed?
There was one that came in that I think we have some time for you to quickly address. But one, so Mark was wondering where one can get the issues plugin that you mentioned.
Brilliant. So the issues plugin will appear in your desktop app if you have not already installed it. So if I go to my desktop app under downloads, if I have not already installed it, it'll appear here. Alternatively, I can go to my manage.autodesk.com page. Under Revit, I can download the issues plugin.
All right, awesome. That was the only question that came in on that. So I think we are all set to jump back to the slides, if you don't mind, and we can probably wrap up. So I just have a couple of final slides to wrap up the community conversations today. Actually, Deepak, if you can jump to the next slide. So we have various amounts of ways for you all to get involved in the Autodesk community. And Kate is so nicely sharing all of the links for you in the chat. But a lot of them are on this slide. You can get involved in our group network. There's ways to get involved in industry-focused communities, as well as we have our forums. And we are also on Twitter, and we have a few new Facebook groups as well. So definitely feel free to check those out. And the biggest thing is thank you all for attending the community conversations today. It was awesome having you all here. We will be sending out a survey with the email as well as the link to this recording. So we would love to hear your feedback from on that survey, and we hope to see you all here next time. And a huge thanks to Deepak for that. Was a wonderful presentation, a lot of good information. So thank you all. See you next time.
Thanks, Tiana, and thanks, Kate, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you for being here today.